For the 17 years that's been since Revenge of the Sith has came out, we have looked at Order 66 a certain way. We had no choice. We've been seeing it over and over and over in the same way for the last 17 years, since 2005. And it wasn't until the last year or so that we started actually getting new footage of Order 66. New views of it, new footage of it, and new points of view of the events that happened during Order 66. The Jedi Purge specifically. So what follows in this video is taking some of the newer footage of Order 66 and some of the older footage and kind of combining it to make one cohesive story. So stick around for the whole story. At the end, I'll give a little bit of a breakdown, some of the possibilities of this theory that could be true and some of them that may not be true. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gerald, and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. Subscribing is absolutely free. We may not agree on every topic that I talk about, but we do agree on one thing. We love Star Wars. Okay, with that said, let's get on with today's topic.
Commander Kelly, the time has come. Execute Order 66.
Yes, my lord.
Directly following this scene, we watch as Jedi become systematically destroyed. The clones they had fought with for so long against the Separatist armies had turned on them. Their inhibitor chips activated by the sound of Palpatine's voice saying execute Order 66. Now, from 1977 through 2005, the only Jedi we knew that escaped Order 66 were Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. But it seems in that time there have been more, roughly 100, I think George Lucas said at one time. That going from 10,000 Jedi before Order 66 to 100 Jedi after Order 66. It's still huge, it's still very big, but it does change a lot of the things Yoda was saying in Return of the Jedi and The Empire Strikes Back. But I digress. And now, with The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett coming out, there was another to escape Order 66, and that being the one of Baby Yoda, or Grogu, the child. When we see Grogu in The Mandalorian for the first time, he is said to be a 50-year-old man-baby. So, when we give in the timeline of Order 6 being about 28 years prior to the events of The Mandalorian, that puts Grogu at the time of Order 66 at about 22 years old, or maybe half the maturity he's at now, unless the maturity level is different in that species, which they do age different, so maybe he's been at a stunted growth for the last 28 years. So, since we've seen Grogu for the first time, the question's been raised. Who is the little tyke? Who's his parents? Who trained him in the Jedi Temple? How did he escape Order 66 from the Jedi Temple? I mean, we see very clearly that he is being attacked by the 501st Legion. That means that Anakin Skywalker is in the Jedi Temple along with them. He may be off killing younglings in another scene, but at the same time, Anakin Skywalker is there. These are his troops coming in to kill the Jedi. But you look, and all the Jedi are killed that are defending the baby, and here come the 501st Legion running at little Grogu. Now, we can assume that Anakin Skywalker was there. I just said a minute ago that he was there. That doesn't necessarily mean he was there, because during Revenge of the Sith, we also see Bail Organa show up, and the 501st Legion's outside shooting at, the pew-pew and the whatnot and with the Jedi, and he gets ran off by them. Now, the very next day, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda decide to make a trip to the Jedi Temple to see if anyone has survived, and yet someone has survived. Now, since Obi-Wan and Yoda didn't show up till the following day, we can't assume that Obi-Wan and Yoda rescued Grogu from the temple. Why not? Well, go back and watch the scene again where Grogu remembers Order 66. The 501st Legion definitely see him, and this is during the Purge of the Jedi, the original beginning of the Purge of the Jedi, when Anakin stormed the Jedi Temple, killed younglings, and all that. The 501st Legion see Grogu in his little bassinet, and they charge after him. So the first part of my theory is who saved Grogu. And I'll tell you this much, it wasn't Yoda, it wasn't Obi-Wan Kenobi, it wasn't Mace Windu, it wasn't Paris Offee, it wasn't Ahsoka, it wasn't any of them. No. And in fact, you might not even think of it as saving, but it was Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader at this time. Anakin, or Darth Vader, picked up Grogu, saved him from the 501st Legion for the reason Palpatine was looking for this child. This was part of his grand plan at cloning himself. Look at what's going on in The Mandalorian. They need Grogu's blood to clone. And we know from The Rise of Skywalker, somehow Palpatine has returned. Well, now we can start putting it together how Palpatine returned. The blood from Grogu helped clone Palpatine. Now, we all know this wasn't the intention of Revenge of the Sith when it was written. There was no Grogu written. There was no Palpatine returning written, although there might have been in Legends at that time. But I digress. So that's my theory, that Anakin Skywalker and the 501st Legion actually abducted Grogu from the Jedi Temple instead of killing him like all the other younglings. Why? Because he has a high midichlorian count, and they need that to clone Palpatine. So that only leaves one question remaining. Where did Grogu come from? Who are his parents? The species of Yoda and Yaddle are very limited from what we see. We don't even know what they're called. Yet all of them that we see are highly force sensitive, and that's only been 3 of them: a woman, a man, and a child. Now keep in mind, a lot of people have said Yoda and Yaddle are the parents of Grogu, but let's take a look at Order 66 one more time. And before we do, just to reiterate, we know Order 66 was not written in the mindset of Grogu becoming a thing, or Baby Yoda if you prefer. I prefer Grogu, but he was not written into the story at that time. He wasn't even thought of. The creator, George Lucas, never created Grogu. This was done by the Disney era of Star Wars by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So yes, this scene where Yoda grabs his chest while Order 66 is happening is heart-wrenching when you think about all the Jedi lost. But what if that isn't the only thing Yoda is feeling? What if he's also feeling that of the despair of his child in the Jedi Temple? When Yoda feels the betrayal, he grasps his chest in a way that shows what Obi-Wan Kenobi felt in A New Hope was happening to the Grand Master at this time. A million voices cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. But there was one voice crying out in terror that Yoda was particularly feeling. And that was the one of his child, Grogu. "Where are you, Daddy? I'm scared. The other Jedi are gone. I'm all by myself." When Obi-Wan mentions to Bail Organa and Yoda about returning to the Jedi Temple to shut off the retreat signal, Yoda at first seems a little hesitant, but then goes along with it. Why? Because he could go see what happened to his child. Hesitant at first because he knows what could have happened to his child, as in what has happened to all the other Jedi children, and what parent wants to see that? But he holds on to hope that maybe his child is still alive. Maybe he can feel his presence in the Force, or maybe the dark side is clouding everything so bad that they can't feel one another. Okay, like I said before, we all know that this wasn't the story that was meant to be. When Revenge of the Sith was written, that it was supposed to be Yoda grabbing his chest because he feels the loss of all the Jedi around him, and that's notable and that's wonderful. But now we could probably add one more to that, and that is the feeling of possibly losing his son being scared in the Jedi Temple as the 501st kill all the Jedi around him, including his own master, the one that is supposed to be teaching him and protecting him until he's of age that he can defend for himself. But let me know what you think of this, and is it possible, plausible, or just outright silly? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I can't take credit for this whole thing. The first part, yes, I think Anakin or the 501st or both saved Grogu from the temple, but not inadvertently saving him, but to take him to Palpatine to get him cloned. But the second part of Grogu being Yoda's son, I'd give that credit to Michael Newby for sending me a video on Facebook from MVZ2, detailing how they watched Revenge of the Sith and saw it a different way now that we've seen Grogu during Order 66. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I like this theory. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but it seems like it could be possible now. But this is Gerald from Star Wars Fanatic signing off, wishing you all great health and happiness. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.